are a few reasons why you see conduit like this on the surface of a wall. So generally, old buildings that have been retrofitted with central heating, if they have a solid floor, no pipes can go underneath the floor. So from where the boiler is situated, the pipes are going to feed down for the downstairs radiators and up for the upper floors. So if you have a single story building with solid floors, then from where the boiler is, the pipe will go into the ceiling space. Pipes will feed across the house down to the radiators where you find this, unless it's been channelled out. So then houses with ground floor, first floor, the boiler will be situated, pipes will feed down for the radiators downstairs, closest, and then generally will feed upstairs to the first floor, feeding the rest of the rooms upstairs and then dropping down into other rooms, unless again it's not been channelled out. So then again, if you've got 2 stories, then from the ground floor to the first floor you may have pipe board feeding all that pipe up. And then from your first floor up to your second floor, then again, if it's not been channelled out, then you're going to have a feed going up onto the next floor, so on. Drywall, plasterboard, again, retrofitting. From new, the pipes will be hidden. If you have an extra radiator fitted, chances are they're going to come down the wall with one of these. Again, if you can't go under the floor, it'll be coming through the ceiling and down the wall. Sometimes they're against casings. Also, electrical wires, generally on hard wall, easier to chase out, bring it in from above, or again, if you've got a hollow space below, from underneath, back of the skirting board and chased out through the wall. So when this is put in situation on a dry wall, then generally smaller, and then it will terminate at a block, and they can look quite ugly. So usually then you would paint it, but you have gaps which possibly want filling. Personally, I do prefer to cover these in paper. Again, this depends on whether this is true. So if you're working with a pattern paper, this would get papered first, and if this was out, no matter how true you had your pattern down here, then obviously the pieces coming in, you're going to have a wedge. Even if you try and offset this, you're still going to have pattern running out on this surface. Again, down here, it's going to be cocking. So, I'll just go through the quick processes of covering this. First job is to make sure that this is clean. So give it a thorough wipe down. It may have black dirt stuck to it, which you might not be able to see till you start to clean it. So again, make sure it's thoroughly clean, dried off, and then give it a key with some sandpaper. Just scratch the plastic, make sure there's no shine to it. If you were papering, then your paste that you're using might not be strong enough to sit on the plastic. So with your piece of paper that you've already got cut ready to go on, that'll be pasted wet. Simply put some neat PVA onto here. Alternatively, you could put some paste in the bottom of the paint kettle, add a bit of PVA to that, and then apply it to your paper and then put it on. But I reckon it is better to have this with the paste on it and put your PVA on here. So with this lining paper, I'm going to treat it as if this is new and I just want to hide it. The wall's already painted. So again, cleaned off, rolled up and into a bucket of water, only for a second or two. Got a cloth, I'll just sit that there, just let it soak for a minute. So this inch either side and then an inch and a half across. So I've cut this to 4 inches. Now with the neat PVA, I'll just neatly coat this up. Make sure there's enough on. Now I can just put this wipe down, just taking the excess moisture away from it. The idea of wetting it in first is just so there's not too much moisture took out of the PVA, and also it's allowing the paper to soak and expand. So keep that cloth handy. Now with your paper hanging brush, just sit this on. Now I'll line this edge up first, making sure I've got enough on this side. Then I'll easily have plenty over this edge. So, leaving a small amount to trim at the bottom. First of all, I need to get this into position. Again, I do want a slight overlap on this. So the brush will mould around the corner. A lot better than using the spatula. When you're happy this is in position, then just pencil it in. Just trimming the last side. Does dry fairly quickly, this glue, so don't really want to hang around too much. So ensuring that this edge is stuck, same as the other side. I'm going to put some glue up this side and then gently stick this back, because again this is going to be wet the paper. So too much rubbing at this point and it'll start to firm up a bit. So I'll just get that into position. Wipe the wall. Now I can leave this to dry. If you are papering over this with a wallpaper, especially a vinyl paper, then you will be wanting to leave slight overlap so that your paper sits over the top on this side and this side. When you do, always use an overlap adhesive where paper is sitting on top of vinyl. And then make sure that there's no heat in this when you're doing it. Turn everything off. That's one way of hiding it, making it least obvious. But then really the best way is to get everything buried behind that wall. When installing a central heating system from scratch, boiler, pipes, having the gas fitted, the whole lot, then it can become quite expensive. So then to actually interfere with the decorating then can add more expense onto the job. So generally then that's why you see things like that. When papering or painting over any conduit like that, it's not necessarily a matter of completely hiding it. You'll never completely hide it. You'll know it's there when you look at it. But it's a matter of taking it away from the peripheral vision. You know, it doesn't catch your eye when you're not looking at it. And then when it comes to painting this, if the surface has been previously rolled, then keep with the same texture and just roll this as well. So if necessary, you may need to blend this wall in. Lightly feathering that off. We'll leave this to dry, and then technically you should only need to paint this paper again